Well, then we've got the answer for you. It is the After Hours Lounge live on New Year's Day here on 1620 brought to you by Bellevue University.
Days off. No days off.
We've literally been off the last 2 days.
None. No days off, Jimmy.
We're working. We're here for you. 402-951-1620. It is a Wing Wednesday edition of the show. Head over to Twitter. Retweet the GIF Our Wings. Follow us. If you're on Facebook, like Cunningham's Pub's Facebook page, and we will enter you into a drawing to win a $25 gift card to Cunningham's Pub and Grill. Jimmy Allen, Dan Campen, and John Schreiner with you here tonight.
I'm wearing a tie.
You are dressed to impress, my friend. We got a lot to get to. We're going to recap the Pinstripe Bowl and everything that happened there. Did you hear? Nebraska has won a bowl game. We'll get to that. We're going to also discuss what we got right, what we got wrong, what we didn't see coming the entire season of college football. Spoiler alert, my list needed to be updated in the last couple of minutes.
Well,
we're also going to give you 5 bold predictions each for the year of 2025. I'm excited to hear your guys' lists. The social media soundbite tonight is a soundbite that continued into a Twitter warfare that we'll get into. We're going to buy or sell on topics around the NFL, and then we're going to this year's college football. Putting it on the Ducks right now. We'll get into that, all that, and more. Don't forget to follow the show at After Hours 1620. Retweet the our Wings tonight. We'll get you to trying to win a $25 gift card to one of Cunningham's 2 great locations. Nebraska dominates 3/4 of a football game in a baseball stadium. Are you more impressed with the fact that they were that dominant in that game, obviously led 20-2 at one point, or are you more concerned with the fact that Boston College battled their way back in and had a chance to possibly get back into the game?
But look, that's what Nebraska does. Like the game is never over. As long as there's time on the clock, Nebraska is going to give you a chance to come back and win.
Is that cause for concern, though? Because we're still talking about that 2 years into Matt Rhule.
Well, I mean, it was already a concern. So I don't know if it's like a new thing that we can say, oh, we should be worried about. We were already worried about this. Were we not?
We were, but I think people need to see that stop being a thing. Like,
yeah,
because even the most dominant performance you could say of this season, the win over Colorado, like Colorado still turned it on in the second half and not necessarily had a chance to win it, but it looked like a much different game in the second half than the first half. Like and Matt Rhule talked about it. The offense said Matt Rhule's words, the offense finally said they had enough, and they took the game in their own hands. They went and closed it out. Now, I don't know why it took 13 games for that to happen, but there's going to be a lot of changes on that offense next year, and Nebraska got another addition today as well.
Yeah, I guess my point is, like, it's still the Nebraska team that we saw all year.
Okay.
Like, that's still that team. That's what they were. They were not a team that had the ability to put games away, even when it looked like they should. They were just not that team. They're led by a freshman quarterback who, although is really good, is still a freshman. He was still a freshman at the end of the year.
Didn't have the greatest game either, 23 of 30 or 22 of 30, which is pretty good. Threw 1 touchdown, still threw that one really bad interception.
And they didn't have that ability at any time this year to really step on the gas and put it out of reach. And, like I said, if there's still time on the clock, Nebraska's going to give you a chance to come back and win. That, yes, you're right. That we need to see that change. That is one of the things that has to be addressed. The other thing that has to change is the special teams play.
Oof, I was about to get to that too.
More than any other concern that you want to talk about, the inability to close out games.
You lost the Iowa game
because of special teams.
You almost lost this game. The only reason Boston College was in this game is because of the lack of special teams ability. The special teams' inability to just do the rudimentary, elementary things.
They can't do the basics. The snap and the hold were problems all year.
Block people.
The blocking on punt. We're getting away from even talking about the return game and making electric plays on special. No, just do the basic things. Nebraska couldn't do that. That was awful. And it was awful all year again. So number one concern for the offseason is fix the special teams. That's got to be better.
Dylan Raiola threw for 2,819 yards this season and 13 touchdowns.
Yep.
Underachieve, overachieve, right where you thought he would be.
It's kind of where I think when we were talking about this early, I figured he would be close to 3,000, but not quite. Is I think what I said.
I had him at 2,500, so he overachieved in that standpoint. But 13 touchdowns to 11 picks. To me, yes, he's a freshman, but the way he started the season, I was very surprised to see that to be the final number.
Well, the yardage totals weren't huge early on.
The touchdowns to interception ratio.
Yeah.
He won his first 4 games without throwing a pick.
Yes.
He finished with 11.
And the opponents had something to do with that. But no, I think it's about right on what I would have expected from a true freshman.
It's 216 yards a game, by the way.
Yeah. And look, the wide receiver room was not as good as we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, we thought it'd be much more.
The tight ends were not as productive as we had hoped.
With that being said, your top 2 receivers this season were still Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nair.
They were.
And now you got Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd have since then entered the transfer portal. I think I have more question marks about the wide receiver room today than they did at the end of last year.
Well, I think you get an Isaiah Hunter.
Yeah, no, you got some nice pieces that are added in, yeah.
And you've got some young guys who are going to be expected to step up. You've still got Ja'Cory Barney. But I don't know that Ja'Cory Barney is a number 1. I think he's a good slot guy.
Yeah, he's a solid number 3.
I think he's a 2. He's a guy you can line up in the slot and use him on end arounds and screens and things of that nature. I don't know that he's a guy you're going to line up outside and expect him to like beat press coverage and win one-on-ones. He's a guy that you're going to scheme open rather than because he is really fast. So you could run him by certain corners, but a lot of the time you want him running good routes to get open, right? You don't want him to just be, well, this guy's real fast, run him down the sideline and see if we can get him open.
Yeah, and obviously the addition of Dane Key is going to be huge. 47 catches, 715 yards. Just the 2 touchdowns at Kentucky this year. But with Hunter and him being out of the addition, Ja'Cory Barney another year advanced into the system. Dana Holgerson coming back is a pretty big deal. The guy that I think has the most intrigue in that room next year, it's arguably the guy that may have the most intrigue in the room this year. It's Carter Nelson.
Yeah.
You don't get the red shirt, but he only gets 10 catches on the season. He showed flashes at times.
Still adjusting to the 11-man game in some ways.
I just wonder how much that Banks and Nair, with the experience they had, commanded getting the ball over a freshman. You know what I mean? Like, I wonder how much it wasn't necessarily him getting caught up to the game, but the fact that you have the guys that are probably a little bit better at the route tree, stature-wise, look like Division I wide receivers at this point. Not that Carter Nelson's a small guy by any stretch of the imagination, but obviously Banks and Nair look like they've been around a weight room a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I just wonder how much that kind of dictated Carter Nelson's times and targets.
Well, I mean, that wasn't Carter Nelson's position, really.
Well, yeah, so he came in as a tight end, obviously, but they flexed him out to wide receiver to kind of get him used to that portion of the game before they asked him to block Big Ten defensive ends and linebackers, which is totally understandable. But I'm going to be honest. I'll be surprised if he plays tight end by the time he leaves Nebraska. I think he's going to be a wide receiver the whole time he's there.
And look, they started the season using Janiron Bonner as that third receiver in the slot, and primarily for his ability to block. Right?
He was a fullback. He was an H-back. He was a wide receiver.
They ran so many of those awful wide receiver screens where they were not doing anything productive, and it made me mad every time they did it.
Awful's putting it nicely.
But that's why Bonner was out there for the most part, was to be a blocking wide receiver. And you're not going to use Carter Nelson in the same way, I don't think.
I want to go back to the bowl game for a minute. What did you make of Dylan Raiola sliding, arguably a late hit, getting up and getting in the defender's face?
I didn't like it. I thought it was really childish.
I did too, but I think it's what that team needed at that time. I hated it in the moment, but looking back on it, it kind of reminded me a little bit of a basketball head coach intentionally getting a technical foul to fire up his team. I'm not saying that Dylan Raiola, that's what he was trying to do, but I think it's the residual effect it had.
It may have. You may be right there. I just felt like it was such a bang bang play, and it wasn't egregious by any means.
I didn't think it was a late hit at all.
It probably shouldn't even have been a foul. He slid really late and then jumped up and like touched off what almost turned into a brawl and could have been very bad.
I was surprised it did.
I mean, there could have been very easily multiple players ejected in that situation. The referees let cooler heads prevail and kept everyone in the game, but you could have had some starters kicked out of the game. And as a quarterback, that's not what you're there to do.
Right.
You're not there to incite, fights and get teams fired up like that. That's not your job. If something like that, if the physical play needs to be made, your enforcers are your offensive linemen. Those are the guys who it's incumbent upon to make the physical play and like change the attitude of the team. The quarterback really shouldn't be that, at least to me. And I thought that in that moment, while it may have turned out for the better, what it ended up being could have been much worse than it was.
Yeah, and it would have been interesting to see if that were to happen, like what would it have looked like? Do suspensions roll over to the Cincinnati game this year, and how would they have handled that?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what would have happened there.
Clearly would not have been a great look for Dylan Raiola.
No. But, and look, when something like that happens, the rest of the offense is going to come to the defense of the quarterback. That's just what happens. So when he jumps up and gets in somebody's face, and then there's a retaliation, of course everyone else is getting involved. And there were a couple of like cheap shots that resulted in some I don't think there were any punches thrown.
No penalties thrown.
But boy, there sure could have been.
Yeah.
And that thing could have gotten ugly. And for him to pop up and respond in that manner, I just think you got to be cooler. You got to be a little bit better in that situation and push your team in a calming manner rather than inciting them to, maybe something stupid.
Were you obviously Boston College was missing the majority, not the majority, they're two keys.
Their best defensive players.
They're two best defensive players. But were you surprised with the way that the defense was able to dictate the way that Boston College basically had to change their entire game plan for the whole game?
I mean, Nebraska's run defense has been pretty good all year, honestly. I mean, and with those two defensive tackles, you're just nobody really ran the ball.
They gave 0 rushing touchdowns at home all season
against Nebraska all year. So that's not that surprising. And look, Boston College, their talent level is not the same. And at the risk of sounding arrogant, that's an ACC team playing a Big Ten team.
True. It's a good point. Willis McGahee and Vincent Shavers both had amazing things.
Vincent Shavers was tremendous.
Yeah, he looked like a Big Ten linebacker just when they panned to him with the camera. I'm interested, I think both those guys are going to be put into prominent roles next year. The way they were recruited, the way they played have dictated. So I'm going to be interested to see what they look like without
Robinson and
Hutmacher in front of them, because it's real easy to look that good.
Yep.
When you got that level, and I think both those guys are tremendous talents. I think they're going to be fine.
I think Elijah Judy is going to be really good.
But that's exactly where I was about to go. I'm really interested to see what the Elijah Judy, Riley Van Poppel combination looks like too, because in the time that they're out there together, it didn't look like there was much of a drop off, if at all.
Yeah. I think Elijah Judy is going to be really good. Van Poppel, I think he's got a ton of talent.
They like him a lot.
We don't know quite enough about him yet. Can he be Ty Robinson? I mean, those are big shoes.
Literally and figuratively, yeah. Matt Rule, does he need to change his approach to redshirting? And do you think he can?
In what respect?
So, obviously, Malachi Coleman, redshirt transfers. You got a bunch of guys that saw red shirts this season that are leaving the program. From the 10,000-foot view, and I mean, we're two guys talking on the radio. We're not college football coaches for a reason. It looks like that approach, we're going to expect you to come in here and sit a year approach, is something that looks to be dying. And that's something that Matt Rule has been very adamant about since he's walked in the door. You've got walk-ons going away. Seems like red shirts are pretty close to becoming a thing of the past unless it's necessary or an injury. Does he need to change that in your opinion? And do you think he can change that?
In the case of Malachi Coleman, if he hadn't redshirted, how much do you think he would have played?
I think the way he was recruited, obviously by a different staff, different coach, and the attention he was getting from other places, namely Colorado, would have dictated him getting playing time. And we saw him get playing time last year.
He did.
we saw Jalen Lloyd get playing time last year. He was their biggest threat for most of the season
Yep.
in a very outdated offense. But for me, it's really hard this is a very complex answer to your question. It's very hard for me to justify keeping Ed Foley on the staff, which it appears they're going to do, to be the Nebraska relationships guy and spend all of this time and energy for what he's going to be an analyst more than likely moving forward. I think we'll get that announcement sooner rather than later, to put this net around the state and then not put an emphasis on guys in the state getting playing time. To me, like, if you weren't going to redshirt Malachi, if there wasn't a decision to redshirt Malachi Coleman this year based off performance in practice and his ability to play college football, those are the only two factors, I think you would have had to have played him this season.
Yeah, it's just interesting to me because I don't think it's necessarily the red shirt that's the issue. I think it's the fact that he didn't play. And I don't think he would.
Well, those things go hand in hand, though.
I don't think he would have played even if he hadn't redshirted. I don't think there was room for him to get playing time in the offense because I don't know that his production last year wasn't good enough to warrant him. And look, if he was good enough to play, why would they redshirt?
They wouldn't have redshirted him. I agree.
Right. So again, I don't know that it's the philosophy that needs to change. But
do you think that could still work in today's college football?
I look, I don't know. I don't know that, like,
there's a lot of people out there that
it
think
depends on the kid.
A dying breed.
It just depends on the player.
Because I mean, we just talked about Riley Van Poppel. He redshirted this year, and he's gonna be a major contributor next year.
Yeah, and look, what we know about wide receivers is they have a little different mentality, right? It's a different.
Are you calling
attitude.
Wide receivers divas?
Yeah, I am. So, and especially for a guy who, look, due to some injuries that Nebraska had at the position and some depth problems, played probably sooner than he should have.
In Malachi
Coleman. He, like, last year, if Nebraska has their full complement of wide receivers, he doesn't play as much as he did.
Sure. I agree with that.
And then that would have been his redshirt year, and he's probably seeing the field a bit this year, but not as much as I would say he probably wants to. And he's transferring out either way. I don't think the red shirt made the difference.
My the thought process is some guys are gamers, and practice has to matter. It does, and I agree with that. But I just think when you have a guy that looks like Malachi does, has the stature and the measurables that he does. Now, granted, when he was out there in front of Division I corners, didn't look like his rivals' profile dictated sometimes. But with that being said, like, I think you have to give guys like that a shot in game to see if you got to find a way to motivate.
I mean, maybe you're right. I can certainly be convinced of it. I just
I personally,
if he was truly a game breaking player, if he was somebody who they felt like could be a contributor this season, I don't think he would have redshirted.
See, and I feel like Jalen Lloyd was, and they never really gave him the shot, and that really surprised Dan. I know we're up against it, but I asked about Dylan Raiola getting fired up after that late hit, and you started motion towards the microphone, and we cut you off. Did you have a thought about it?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was exactly what the team needed in that moment, and to be honest, it was something that I've wanted to see out of Dylan Raiola all season, because he's, does the stupid run jumpy little hop thing before the game and does the
Is that what he does?
Yeah. That's how I imagine it sounds. But we didn't really get to see a lot of like super fired up Dylan Raiola this season. And to me, I think this bodes well for him as the quarterback of the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Leading by example type guy.
Yeah. And plus, can we just all not us, national media, media us in general, can we all shut up about the whole, well, Dylan Raiola had to put out a statement about his transferring?
Well,
right before the game. I was so tired of
the only reason he had to do that is the Boston Globe put out in their article that Dylan Raiola was transferring when they were writing the article about the game. The other Dave points out, and thanks for listening. The other Dave, Hardly Gilmore, the Kentucky wide receiver, signed today as well. I will caution everybody with this: if Jalen Lloyd leaving isn't a big deal, and this is no shade at Hardly Gilmore, he might be a nice piece. 6 catches, 153 yards, and 1 touchdown isn't really much to write home about. So the narrative that they're loading this room up with a bunch of talent. I don't know if you know what I mean. I don't know if I'm really gonna say that they're going out of their way to. And yes, it's an SEC wide receiver, and you can read into that what you'd like as well. He's also a freshman. He's got 1 year of playing time under his belt. So I think any piece is I think I always believe that the transfer portal is going to be addition by addition. But I will caution everybody to not start celebrating the offseason national championship quite yet with another freshman wide receiver coming into the fold. This is the After Hours Lounge. We're here till 8 o'clock tonight. If you missed the opening segment, check it out. SoundCloud.com/After Hours. 1620 is brought to you by Allo Fiber. Allo goes beyond internet, bringing fast, reliable speeds with an all-fiber network. Allo goes beyond customer service expectations with local teammates, no robots, and 24/7 customer support. I recently switched to Allo Fiber 2 months ago. My internet speed has been second to none. I don't lag when I game. My research that I'm doing for the show is speedy. We cut the cord. We don't have the former cable service. All of our streaming products, boom, boom, boom. You can't beat it. Allo Fiber is second to none, and they are here in local Omaha areas. Check out allofiber.com to find out if you're in their footprint. Head over to allofiber.com. Get fiber to your house today. We'll be right back. Tell you what we got right, what we got wrong, and what we didn't see coming in college football this season. 1620 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. John here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Was one of your New Year's resolutions to dress better in 2025? Well, if it wasn't, it should be. And you need to get yourself to 78th and Dodge and get started on dressing better in the new year. And they have you covered in Creighton Blue. If you need it, get to Jerry Ryan. They got Billy Blue Jay on their Peter Millar, Johnny O, and Cutter and Buck. Whatever your favorite brand is, they got you hooked up with the best in Creighton gear. And they have the exclusive Tommy Bahama women's polos. You didn't get it for Christmas? That's okay. That's fine. Maybe you're looking for, just a special President's Day gift. That's coming up. You can get that Tommy Bahama women's polo exclusively at Jerry Ryan. And you got to check out the Mizzen and Main Roan pants. Jerry Ryan is your place to be in the new year. And they've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years.
Hey Jays fans, it's hoop season and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vests, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan's, we bring out the best.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.
New year, new yo, but better beverages in 2025. Chesterman Coca-Cola and Hy-Vee are giving you the best new deals of the new year. Stop by any Omaha area Hy-Vees and grab Body Armor 12-ounce 8-packs for $5.99. Core Power Protein Shakes 12-packs for just $39.99 with a 5-cent Feel Saver bonus. And Coke 6-pack mini cans are just $2 for $9. Chesterman Coca-Cola and Hy-Vee, delivering the same flavor in the new year.
Now back to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
We might have a game in Pasadena, folks. It's the After Hours Lounge brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to keep up on the championship efforts going on the campus at Bellevue University. Oregon just gets a key stop. Currently down 34-15 with the ball back, 7:21 to go in the third. We'll keep you updated on what's going on in the Rose Bowl. The sun hasn't set yet, so we haven't seen the mountains yet.
The sunset over the San Gabriel.
Yeah, we're not there yet. But we are at the second segment tonight. We appreciate everybody joining us on a New Year's Day. Appreciate all the YouTube comments as usual. But we're going to tell you what we got right, what we got wrong, and what we didn't see coming this year in college football. And I'm going to go ahead and start us off with what I got right. And Dan Lanning is doing his damnedest right now to get me wrong. I said before the season started that I thought 1 through 22, Ohio State was the best team in the country. And I think the performance they're putting on right now in Pasadena kind of proves that. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I was right about that. I still think Ohio State has the most talented team in the country as far as starters go.
Well, I want to go here, but I'm not sure if I can just yet. But I'm gonna make it. I said from the start that I felt like none of the teams who have won a national title in the last 6 years would be one of the final teams in the college football playoff.
Like make the championship game?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're close to that. Now,
sure.
Georgia's the last holdout.
Yeah, because Cardale Jones was a long time ago, folks.
So if what I think is going to happen and Notre Dame beats Georgia, then I will have been right. And I don't think Georgia without Carson Beck can get there. I just don't see it happening.
Carson Beck, famously one of the most ugly human beings on the planet.
He looks like that actor from the Super 8 movie.
Dan Campion.
I'm close to declaring it myself right. It's a little bit of a splitting hairs thing, but it's going to be a new national champion this year.
I think Georgia might win the national championship.
No, they won't.
Nah, they won't. Although I will admit the quarterback that they have at Georgia right now, everything
famously not Dylan Raiola.
Yeah, everything that I have heard about him seems to point towards the fact that they're going to have some new offensive wrinkles in this game against Notre Dame that could prove fruitful for them. What I got right throughout an entire
it's definitely not the Wyoming Cowboys
of college football is that Texas would come out of the SEC and they would be one of the better teams that we had the opportunity to watch this year. So far, they are the better team in the SEC. That game against Arizona State today made me go, ooh.
Dan, you had your opportunity to run over to the sideline and grab your flag and plant it at midfield. You were all in on Sharon Moore before the season started. And you thought that Michigan was going to be as good and not have a drop off. Now they didn't have the season.
Didn't make the college
they were not
playoffs.
good.
So.
They didn't, but listen, the way they finished.
Okay.
Beat Alabama, beat Ohio State
let's
again.
Let's talk about bowl games. Okay.
But. with that being listen, I think Michigan's in a lot better shape than you and I thought they were going to be heading into next season.
I don't think they're in good shape at all.
Really?
No, I don't.
Dave Portnoy disagrees.
Listen, bowl games are very often about who wants to be there more. And clearly, Michigan wanted to be in that bowl game.
But Alabama should have been in the playoff.
Yeah,
you know?
and Alabama was disappointed to not be in the playoff, and that's why they played so badly in that bowl game. Bowl games are very much about who is excited to be there and who is disappointed to be there. And Alabama was disappointed to be in that spot, and they came out and laid an egg. Michigan's not good.
Michigan's going to contend for the Big Ten championship next year.
Not even close.
Put it on the list.
No way.
Dan, so you're going to go Texas then?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Texas.
What I got wrong was Penn State. I thought anything short, and let me explain why. I thought anything short of Penn State winning a Big Ten championship in a season where they didn't have to play Michigan and they only had Ohio State of the Big Three. If they didn't win a Big Ten title, anything short of that would be a disappointment. They're in the Final Four. They had a chance to play for a national championship. So I was wrong about that. And I think James Franklin is probably benefiting from the expansion to 12 teams more than any other coach in the country right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, Penn State is that team who can really, really benefit from the expanded field. You don't have to win every game in your conference to make the playoffs now. And Penn State's not they just don't win every game in the Big Ten, but they can still get on a run and get hot in the playoff.
And they looked damn good against Boise.
They looked really good.
What'd you get wrong?
Notre Dame. I didn't think
Riley. I thought you were going.
I've already said I was way wrong about Virginia Tech. I've already admitted that one. I admitted that one like halfway through the season. So we all know that one. But I didn't think Riley Leonard would be the answer for Notre Dame. I just didn't feel like transferring from Duke. He was going to be good enough to push that team over the top. And especially after they lost to Northern Illinois, I just felt like they were about to go into the tank after that and could not have been more wrong. This looks like a team that can beat Georgia. They could beat Penn State in the next round. I think Notre Dame could be in the national championship game.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman has made me a liar as well. Dan, what'd you get wrong?
Well, obviously I got Wyoming wrong. That was for sure. And then, out of all the things that I really, really, really got
this one could have been a
wrong-
pretty long list.
Yeah. I mean, let's be fair.
Oh, no, there's a fog coming in over the Rose Bowl right now. Are we not going to be able to see the famous sunset? We'll see. All right.
Oh, we better be able to. So I would say one of the things that I definitely got wrong
Are the
is
aliens invading?
Oklahoma. I thought that they, in their transition into the SEC, were going to have no flaws whatsoever, and they were going to be the bigger team, and they were going to be the surprise of the SEC this year secretly. They were no surprise. They
might have been surprising at how bad they were.
Yeah, that's true.
They pooped down their leg pretty good.
They were missing Dylan Gabriel. That's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it was one of those seasons where I think they saw what they had coming to them and they said, "Uh-oh." And then just to lay an egg though against Navy in your bowl game. And I know bowl games don't matter when they're not, for anything important like a national championship, but it does sting a little bit to have to, recruit off that and be like, well, I know we just lost to Navy, guys, but you still want to come play football at my school? Please?
Yeah.
What I didn't see coming was the Vanderbilt Commodores. Now, listen, I mean, it's not like they had a Cinderella season or anything. They still went 7-6. But I mean, the wins over both Alabama, taking Texas to the brink, beat Auburn in Jordan-Hare by 10 points. They upset your beloved Virginia Tech Hokies to start the season out.
Whoops.
I just think they overachieved despite only going 7-6. But I don't think anybody saw Mr. Pavia, that offense.
Yeah,
and
he's coming back now.
Tim Beck in that diamond formation, really catching the world on fire. But Diego Pavia is a guy that I think is probably going to be on the short list of Heisman favorites for next year.
No, I don't think he's a Heisman favorite.
Top 5, 7, somewhere at the start of the season?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Put on the list. Diego
He's
Pavia
fun.
will be in the top 7 of the Heisman.
He's fun.
Preseason betting odds, he'll be in the top 7.
I think he's a fun player to watch, but it's still Vanderbilt. They're still going to lose 5 to 7 games a year. at minimum.
James Franklin's not walking through that door anymore.
No.
What didn't you see coming?
Arizona State. I mean,
fair enough.
They were picked last in the Big 12. What did you see last year from Arizona State that would have indicated that this was even possible?
I mean, they're arguably one incorrect targeting call away from playing in the Final Four.
It was impressive. Like what Kenny Dillingham has done in turning that program around after back-to-back 3-9 seasons, nothing short of miraculous. I mean, that is a program going forward that has serious momentum and could be among the top teams in the Big 12 again next year because Sam Leavitt's a redshirt freshman.
If they're handing out MVPs for performance today for Arizona State, Ladarius Henderson, number 77 offensive tackle that literally German suplex Cam Scadaboo into the end zone, deserves that trophy, especially if they'd have won that game. Yeah, I'm with you there. Arizona State came out of nowhere.
What I didn't see coming was the true rise of Ashton Junty. And
didn't really know who he was at the beginning of the year. I mean, he was on all those All-America lists, and we kind of went, huh? Who?
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, just the absolute power and grace with which he was running all season is absolutely amazing. To even now be considered in, the greatest college running backs of all time conversation.
Did today change your opinion about that at all?
Fun fact, no, it didn't.
Okay.
Because he was all that Boise State had on offense. It was very well worn the entire game that it was like, oh no, is Ashton Junty overrated? And then you watch him run directly off tackle and break 7 tackles to get 9.5 yards. I don't think he's overrated. It doesn't change my opinion about him whatsoever. Penn State is a literal monster against tiny little Boise State. That's what that came down to.
Not according to their seeding. We'll get into that a little bit later in the show. That's what we got right, what we got wrong, what we didn't see coming this year in college football. If you missed it, check it out at SoundCloud.com/After Hours 1620 is brought to you by Cunningham's Pub. It may be the new year, but it's the same old amazing experience at Cunningham's. 2 great locations in the Blackstone District or at Old Mill. You can check them out at either location 7 days a week. You want beer and wings on us? Head over to X. Follow us at After Hours 1620. Retweet the GIF of our wings. Tonight, we're going to enter you to a drawing to win a $25 gift card to Cunningham's on the After Hours Lounge. We're going to give you 5 bold predictions for 2025. We come back here on 1620 Zone.
Hey, everybody. John here for Bob at Williams Law. Bob comes in and sits with us and talks about all the pressing legal matters in the sports world. He's got the expert analysis, always knows what's up, and gives you the lowdown on the legal matters affecting sports. If you want the lowdown on legal matters affecting you, you don't have to be the NFL. You don't have to be college football. You just have to be you, and you have to give Bob Williams a call or check him out at WilliamsLawLLC.com. Bob's going to give you a free, no-obligation legal consultation where he'll walk you through whatever legal situation you're facing, how he would represent you, and what the next steps are for your specific case. Get up with Bob if you got legal problems. Even if you don't have legal problems, you just need some advice, check him out. WilliamsLawLLC.com.
Criminal, civil, personal. If you or a loved one is facing a lawsuit, let Williams Law represent you and your family today. With more than 20 years litigation experience in Nebraska, Williams Law will defend you with the dedication you deserve. If you're facing a DUI or if your son or daughter has been accused of a crime, Williams Law is here for you. Call 402-522-6317 to get a free, no-obligation consultation and to get the representation you deserve today.
Didn't get exactly what you wanted for Christmas? Don't return it. Bring it to Saul's instead, and we'll give you cash on the spot. Tired of store credit? No problem. Saul's Jewelry and Loan will pay you cash for your jewelry, electronics, tools, and more. No need to stand in those long return lines. Just head to any of Saul's 5 locations and get cash quick. So don't re-gift this year. Get cash from Saul's.
You'll find it all at Saul's. Saul's Jewelry and Loan. You'll find it all at Saul's. Saul's Jewelry and Loan.
.643 on a Wednesday night here at 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone tonight. Keep up to date on all the championship action going on the campus of Bellevue University. We're going to make it is New Year. Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for making us a part of it. 5 years.
How about
the After Hours Lounge. Happy anniversary to you. You made your first official debut on January 3rd last year, but you won't be here. We won't be on the air on January 3rd this year. So
it's been a full year.
It's been a full year. Does not feel like it is.
No way, man.
By. Did you think you were going to be in LA when you took this job last year, in the middle of July?
It's been fun, man. We've had a good time. We've had some good shows, had some bad shows, but we've had mostly good ones.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some nights I haven't been here, and you've kind of laid some stinkers, but that's fine.
I did a bunch of them from my basement during last basketball season.
Hey, your boys are busy during basketball season. We do what we can, but we appreciate everybody making us a part of your evenings here on 1620 The Zone.
I did a few of them from North Dakota.
Did one from a different continent, famously.
We're gonna run that back, by the way.
Yeah, we're gonna run 2025 back too. But before we get there, we're gonna make some bold predictions. This would have been a key John Schreiner needs his graphics art out day, but you were busy before this. You famously just did the Creighton women's basketball game.
Women's basketball today.
I'm gonna go. We'll go around like we do for
round robin.
Our right, wrong, didn't see coming. You're not going to be happy with me with my first.
No, I saw it in the notes.
I think Jaden Daniels is going to regress in 2025. I think I still have a future bet on him being the NFL Rookie of the Year offensively this year. So, I like I said, I was very bullish on him coming in. This is kind of what we see with running quarterbacks, right? They have a really good first explosive year. There's year regression once they get on tape. Then you kind of see who they are in year 3, sink or swim. And I think that's what you're going to see in 2025. I'm going to say I still think the Commanders as a team are going to be good, but I think he's going to have a little bit of a setback in 2025.
They need to fix the defense more than anything. The defense is awful.
Which is another reason that I think that regression is going to come too, because it's not like they're going to put a bunch of weapons around him either. Although I think there's going to be some free agents that may be interested in coming to Washington to play with him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that I agree.
Okay,
because I think his numbers have a chance to be even better next year.
Well, I mean, everybody's numbers have a chance. Trey Lance has a chance to have better numbers.
No, he doesn't, because he's not going to play.
Yeah, he's awful. He might not even be in the league next year.
Yeah. Okay.
But he has a chance.
Well, okay.
All right.
We'll see.
What's your first bold prediction of
The
2020?
CFP seating system will change.
Ooh, you think it's going to happen that quickly?
I think it's going to happen that quickly because of TV ratings. You are going to need better games in the first round, and which means you need competition.
Man,
in the first
I don't
round.
know because
The CFP
there were
seeding
some
system's
pretty
going to change.
bad stinkers in just the 4-team playoff, and they expanded it.
Sure. But if you redo the seeding and put teams that are closer together against each other, right? If you had a first round game that was Boise State, Arizona State, would that not have been a better game than any of the first round games?
The number 1 overall seed is now down 26 points right now.
Sure.
Doesn't that kind of put a little bit of a wrench in your theory?
Nope.
Okay.
Because I think you can get better first round games by redoing the seeding.
Okay. Dan Campinen, bold prediction numero uno.
Anthony Edwards will be your NBA MVP.
Okay, is this for the end of this season or next year?
This is for next year
Okay. All right, I'm just making sure.
because he's got a whole nother year.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He's got to catch up
I
with
don't-
the competition around him, and they've got to actually build a consistent team around him because the assist numbers aren't where they should.
Yeah,
be.
not take some nights off too. That's a little bit. That's kind of a problem in the NBA right now. I mean, like while he's on the court, not like load management wise.
Yeah.
My number 2 is something that is near and dear to Dan Campinen's heart. I think Michigan's going to make the playoff next year. I've kind of alluded to this earlier. Got themselves a 5-star quarterback coming in. They're putting a ton of talent. The boosters have showed up. I think Sherrone Moore is a lot better coach than I thought he was going to be. I got Michigan at least in the top 3 in the Big Ten next year and a playoff appearance.
I've already told you I disagree
Sure,
with this.
that's fine.
But
That's why these are bold predictions.
hey, you go out on that limb, buddy.
Number 2.
Mine is also a college football prediction.
Okay.
Alabama will miss the CFP for a second consecutive year.
The way you started enunciating there, I think you're about to tell me something about Akron. So I was like really wide. Does that put Kalen DeBoer on the hot seat?
It's going to, even though it shouldn't, because they're still going to be good. They're still going to win a bunch of games. But I told you this when they hired Kalen DeBoer.
Told everybody Jalen Milroe sucks. Nobody want to listen to me.
He is going to be a victim of Nick Saban's success. Even though they're going to
Anybody
win
that took that job was going to
they're going to win a bunch of games, but they're not going to be a dynasty like they were with Saban. He's going to be on the hot seat the same way that Frank Solich was on the hot seat following Tom Osborne.
I agree with that. But dude, he just wins though. Like I will be surprised if he's not able to turn that thing around next year and get to the playoff.
It doesn't need a turnaround, Jimmy. They were fine.
Yeah.
They were a good team. They're just not CFP good.
By a turnaround, I mean win 10 games instead of 9.
I don't see it. I don't think that they're going to do it.
The SEC's gotten like it's not even like the Saban to DeBoer thing. Like the SEC as a whole has gotten better on. They've also added Texas and Oklahoma.
Well, it's not just the top teams in the SEC that pay their players now.
Yeah.
Everybody does.
It's true. So some coaches wear shirts to practice and say we pay players. Jemiah Neal asked John Bishop for an NIL deal after the Creighton game last night. I thought that was hilarious. He goes, "I've been talking to you guys a lot. You guys might need to start paying me for this." Dan Campinen?
Dan Hurley will no longer be the coach of your University of Connecticut Huskies.
You think he's going to get an NBA job?
I don't hate this take.
He will have an NBA job probably by the end of this season, but I would guarantee that within
he'll finish the year.
By the end of 25-26, he's going to have a job in the NBA somewhere.
I don't hate this take. Man, he turned down the Lakers.
Yeah, but
Like,
turning down the Lakers might be a little easier because of who the Lakers have.
Bronny James?
And you not being in control of the Lakers, even though
That's
you're the
a good
head coach.
This might be my hottest take of all of my predictions. Brian Kelly will step down at LSU.
Step
He will not
down.
get fired. I think he will, a la Dan Hurley take, I think he will try to take another job because Brian Kelly comes off to me as a guy that wouldn't take getting fired very well and may mutually part ways and take a different job elsewhere.
Remember when Brian Kelly was the coach at Cincinnati?
What happens if the USC job opens up? Is that a job he would consider? Because I think it is.
I don't know. Maybe.
Number 3?
Aaron Rodgers is done.
This is for next year.
No, I'm saying like next year he's not going to be on a roster. and it may not be his own choice. I think no one is going to want to pay Aaron Rodgers the kind of money that he is going to want to play the game of football because of all the baggage, because of his diminished skills.
Because of Pat McAfee.
I don't think there's a team out there that's going to take him.
I don't either.
Even if he wants to play, the Jets are done with him. Who else is going to pick him up? I don't think he plays.
This kind of feels like a Las Vegas Raiders special, though, doesn't it?
I don't think they'll take him.
They need a quarterback. That franchise. I mean, you got to pay Deshaun Watson all the money in the world, too, in Cleveland. They're not very good at making decisions. I don't know. I don't hate the take, but I think there's somebody out there that might go, what if we could just get a small smidgen of that special Rodgers magic?
This is probably my hottest take. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is on a roster next
Did somebody
season.
trade for Brock Bowers and get him the hell out of Las Vegas, by the way? He's too good to be there. Dan?
He is. 2026, your NHL champion will be the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Because
the Canada curse is broken.
The Canada curse will be broken, and it will be Toronto
Bring
to
Lord
be the
Stanley
one to break
home.
it.
I got a Washington Capitals hoodie for Christmas.
There you go.
I really like.
Austin Matthews can
almost cursed on air.
only
Don't wear that in
take
here.
so much abuse from the NHL watching public and from Canada in general. That man is going to put the city and an entire country on his back and say, watch me work, and he will be raising the Stanley Cup.
I see your Aaron Rodgers take, and I raise you a LeBron James take. LeBron was recently asked how much longer he could play this game if he wants to. And he snickered, made a couple sounds with his mouth, and then said 4 or 5 years if I want to. LeBron James is going to retire after this season. I think he hangs it up
Got
and
the
he moves on
preseason
from
with
basketball.
Bronny.
Yep, I think it's over. I don't think he's still playing at a very high level, but I think he's realized that it's not championship level, and if it's not rings, I don't think he wants to be there. I think LeBron's going to retire after this season.
Just going to be a film producer from now on.
He's making a ton of money doing it.
Actually, Braun Films lost money last year.
He'll make money. He'll make money. Give Sierra Wright another acting role. He'll be fine.
All right. The Chiefs
of Kansas City
will not win the 2025 Super Bowl.
That's not a bold take.
I think they're the favorite right now.
They are. That
Aren't
is
they
true.
though? Like, are they though?
According to the odds,
Are they though?
they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
Does anybody else, like outside of Chiefs Kingdom and your rose-colored glasses, anybody looking and going, I feel comfortable saying the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl this year?
To be fair,
Las Vegas is.
I feel comfortable saying that.
Okay.
Like if I were to
I
put,
don't think they're going to do it.
if those words were to come out of my mouth, I'd be like, I meant to say those words.
Okay.
Because honestly,
It's still
but
Andy
here-
Reid and Patrick
hey,
Mahomes,
let
and
me
I get
to
that.
the second part of the take.
Sure. Oh, go ahead.
The reason
You
the
didn't tell us
Chiefs,
there was 2 parts.
the reason the Chiefs are not going to win the Super Bowl is because the Buffalo Bills are finally going to win their first Super Bowl. Josh Allen is leading the Bills to a Super Bowl championship this year. It's going to happen. Even though they have less wide receiver talent, even though they have injuries on defense, this is the year for the Bills.
Still the Bills.
Still the Bills. They're going to do it.
Okay. All right. Dan?
I like it as a take though. The best,
The Bills?
The Bills.
the Bills.
Bills are winning the Super Bowl.
I like it. I would love to
That's
see.
my bold prediction.
I would love to see Josh Allen get engaged, win a Super Bowl, get married, live happily ever after. His wife is a superstar. No one talks about it.
They
And
have, to
I
get
love
mar-
it.
they have to get married outside in the snow. Dan?
They got to jump through a table,
There you go.
down the altar, through a table.
As they both say I do together.
Love
Dan?
it. The greatest college basketball player as a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior by the end of 2025
Cooper Flag?
will be one young man in the University of Arizona.
Wow.
His name, Bryce James. He has got the handle.
Did you
He
see
has
that
got
today?
the height. He has got the length.
The younger James committed to Arizona today?
He will be
He looks a little bit more like dad.
the best college basketball player and will win the Wooden Award.
I don't-
and will immediately get drafted.
I don't agree, but I don't hate the take.
I also think that he will get drafted by
Can
the
we go
Lakers
back to you for a
play
second?
with LeBron for a moment.
Can we go back to you for a
Go
second?
back to me for a second.
You're telling me this franchise that went to 4 straight Super Bowls and didn't win a single one,
30 years ago.
and hasn't been back to one since,
30 years ago.
can win the Super Bowl
Yep.
this year? Because I agree. My
can.
5th bold take this year is that the Buffalo Bills will win the Super Bowl if they don't have to play the Kansas City Chiefs.
Nah, they'll beat the Chiefs
in the AFC Championship
AFC title game.
I'm
That's
telling you
105.
right now, your
I'm
Super
with
Bowl
you.
matchup for this year is going to be Bills, Minnesota Vikings.
Ooh,
We're gonna get to those guys in a
that's
little bit
bold.
too.
It's going to be the two of them going, who wants it more?
Yeah, which franchise could screw this one up this time? Number 5.
You know, it's not a prediction segment unless I talk about soccer.
No,
Fair enough.
we almost made it.
Come on, Chelsea. Come on, Chelsea. The
I don't-
Blues will stay in the top 4. They will qualify for the Champions League and will make their mark next season. This is a young Chelsea squad. They're gonna stay in the top 4. They're gonna finish out strong. They're gonna play in the Champions League next year.
I don't know what that means. Dan, what do you? What else you got?
Your World Series champions this coming October will be ... the New York Yankees.
Because
Aaron Judge still rakes, baby.
now they fixed the pitching rotation. I agree. I think they're going to win the World Series too. I'm with you. I had to work my LeBron. I actually deleted my Yankees are going to win the World Series prediction out for my LeBron take. I'm with you, man. I think I despite losing Juan Soto, and I'm not gonna be that he doesn't play for me anymore, so that guy sucks now, guy. But no, I think them spending the money on the pitching rotation, I think the Yankees are going to win the World Series. Hey, if you missed our bold takes, we'll check them out. Listen to it at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620.
Not going to be the White Sox.
It was brought to you by Controlled Bold Take. The Chicago White Sox will not win the World Series next year. It's brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. You know who's the Yankees of the HVAC game? It's Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. I was out in Los Angeles. We just talked about a little bit ago. The air conditioning went out in my house. It was 102 degrees outside. Controlled Comfort had my AC fixed like that. If you're in the same situation this winter, your furnace takes a dive on you, have it replaced or fixed by Controlled Comfort Heating. Head over to controlledcomfort.com and book an emergency appointment tonight. You can do it. They have after hours. They don't just sponsor after hours. They have after hours service techs available. They can come to you when you need them. Break glass, case of emergency. It is Controlled Comfort Heating. Right back. Let's see, 20 zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Pepper Jack's Grill. Listen, they've got a ton of great items you could throw on the grill, whether it be their steak, their chicken. They've got shrimp. They've got their famous Italian sausages. But listen, that crispy chicken that they throw in the fryer is my favorite option on the menu. Throw it in a burrito with a little bit of grilled onions, mushrooms, green peppers on top of it. Get some rice stuffed in there. The spicy ranch that goes on top of it, so good, should be illegal to sell. 10 great locations throughout the Omaha area. Stop by and grab Pepper Jack's for dinner tonight.
Hey, Jays fans, it's hoop season, and you know what that means. Jerry Ryan has the best selection in town for all things Creighton gear. Stop by Jerry Ryan at 78th and Dodge for your quarter zips in all shades of Jays blue, plus jackets, vests, winter coats, you name it. They have it. Multiple Jays options for men and women from Peter Millar, Cutter and Buck, and Johnny O. Stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and dress like the coaches do.
At Jerry Ryan's, we bring out the best in you.
Did that trash or recycling truck roll by your house without stopping again? Hi, I'm Megan with Papillion Sanitation. At Papillion Sanitation, trash and recycling is our passion. From residential to commercial, we've cleaned up Omaha and surrounding areas for more than 30 years. So if your home or business needs reliable, friendly, trash, or recycle service, check out papillion-sanitation.com today and see how our customer service and professionalism can't be matched. Head over to papillion-sanitation.com to upgrade your trash or recycling service today.
You are listening to After Hours with Jimmy Allen on 1620 The Zone.
Dan, we're throwing a curveball at you. We're gonna audible on the social media soundbite tonight. We're gonna talk Beamer versus Bielema, but we got anti-breaking news. I guess this is the After Hours Lounge brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone to keep up to date on all the championship action going on at Bellevue University this winter. On 3, our friends, obviously we're good friends with Brian Munson and all of our friends at On 3. On 3 reported that Nebraska wide receiver Isaiah Nair has signed with Louisville per Pete Nakos, who honestly I don't think I've ever seen Pete Nakos be incorrect about something. Then Isaiah Nair on Twitter retweets and says, "This is not true. I'm not committed anywhere." The former Nebraska, Texas, Wyoming wide receiver announced that he was going to the NFL draft just a few days ago. I think it might have been less than a week ago. This has become an issue in college sports, right? Like the misinformation out there. Like it's very weird to me that somebody with the respected following that Pete Nakos has.
How did he not contact Isaiah Nair?
Like would not be getting this information directly from Louisville.
Well, even if he was getting it from Louisville, shouldn't you actually contact the player?
Well, I don't think you would if you have who you would feel would be a reliable source at the said university, right?
You should, as a journalist, you should always double source.
I agree, but I mean, if you feel like somebody's giving you let's say somebody from On 3 was contacted by Sean Callahan, was like, "Hey, I talked to so and so, and they're coming to Nebraska," you probably wouldn't reach out to that player, right?
Why not?
I don't know. It just kind of feels like if it's that reliable of a source,
because
maybe if it was Sipple, I'd reach out.
I mean, if a school tells you, "Hey, we're getting this guy," if the school says, "Hey, we're getting this guy,"
yeah,
don't you then go to that player and say, "Hey, we've got some word that you're going to Louisville. Is that true?" And if he says, "No, I'm not going to Louisville," then you don't report it. Like the rush to be first is the problem. That's the issue.
This is a bad look if it comes out tomorrow that Isaiah Nair is going to Louisville.
It's a bad look. It's a bad look right now because he's saying that he's not.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes out that he's saying he's not, and then it comes out that he does anyway, like this could easily be I need more money ploy, right? We've seen it happen. I'm not saying it is, but you could get me there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Pete Nakos got some word that they were close, or it was almost a done deal. They just needed to sign the paperwork, and he decided to go with it. And maybe Isaiah Nair's saying, "Huh? I haven't signed on the dotted line yet." So it could be as simple as semantics, or it could actually be not at all true. Like we don't know the extent of the situation. But yeah, it looks really bad when you report something and the player you're reporting about says actually not.
Yeah, it's getting like, listen, if you're a fan of college athletics right now, I think you need to probably buckle in and make sure that you have all the right information, get confirmation from the players that you're following.
That's the thing. You got to contact the player.
Hey, if you missed the social media soundbite tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Pixel Fire Marketing. Are you the business decision? Are you the decision maker in your business? Google your business right now. Do you like what you see? Do you know you could control that? Head over to pixelfiremarketing.com. If you don't like your Google business profile, maybe you don't even outright own your profile, you can get that all taken care of with our friend Courtney and Dan at Pixel Fire Marketing. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. We'll be right back, buying or selling here on 1620 The Zone. Hey everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. Listen, I've been telling you for months about how big of a fan I am of AX Plumbing, how they've bailed me out. They're not even bailing just me out. They're bailing all of you out. Thank you to our friends, Jess and Stefan, who over the Christmas break had their water heater go out in their house. AX Plumbing specializes in water heater replacement and repair. They got them up and running that same day. You can get the same service as well. All you got to do is head over to axpservice.com tonight. There's a discount for military members and first responders. Stefan's a police officer, so you got a little bit of a discount there. They can give you a discount if you fall into that category as well. There's also financing available on the website. Head over to axpservice.com. Get your plumbing issues fixed with AX Plumbing tonight.
Cunningham's Pub and Grill, now open in Blackstone. Signature smoked wings, one-of-a-kind sandwiches, wraps, burgers, and more. Fill your glass with craft beer or one of our house-made cocktails right on tap. Whether it's lunch with the office or watching the game with friends, come experience a great time. Keep up with us online for delicious daily food and drink specials and find your flavor at Cunningham's. Locally owned and operated in Old Mill and 38th and Farnham in Blackstone.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at
PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
Second hour here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. You never have to settle for less at pyramidroof.com. Head over to pyramidroof.com for free estimate on your windows, gutters, siding, even your roof. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com to book a free estimate. Kyle and the team today. We have breaking news. We don't need the drop. Pete Nakos has retracted his statement about Isaiah Nayer in our last segment. But it is time for Buy or Sell with Dan Campanen, who has a lot of questions for us. Dan, what do you got?
Yes, I do. Saquon Barkley is sitting out Sunday's matchup with the Giants. Barkley is just 102 yards shy of Eric Dickerson's 2,105-yard single-season rushing record for the Rams in 1985. Buy or sell, Barkley sitting out is the right move.
I think it is. And I know nobody wants to hear that. And I know a lot of people are saying he should go out there, he should do it for his teammates because it's the same. The record would be for him and his offensive lineman, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You feel the same way if he takes the helmet to the knee and shatters his leg? Or
nobody's putting his offensive lineman's names in the record books, though.
But it'd be in the pictures. And listen, that record would belong to them as much as it would him.
No,
and to them it would.
Name.
To them it would. To them it would. And listen, if I'm Saquon Barkley, I'm fine with this. I want to sit out. I want to win a Super Bowl, and I want to be healthy for next year too. Because I don't want what happened to me in New York to happen to me in Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's probably the right move. It's not the cool move because we all love to see records fall. We all like to be around when, and we can say, like, I was there and I saw Saquon Barkley break the rushing record that was 35, 30, 40 years old, right? So it's not the cool thing to do, but it may be the right thing to do for the health of the team.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, like, if we're going to allow bowl games to affect records now, and we have the records from like Barry Sanders when he can we just go back and add it in and just change the record? Like, I don't understand what the hang up in that is. We're going to allow people to do it now when we have the information. Why don't we just add it to theirs? I don't get it. But go ahead, Dan.
For the first time in the Super Bowl era, a team in the final week of the regular season will either be the number 1 seed or a wild card team. Buy or sell, this means the NFL is making the regular season 17 games was the right move.
It's hard to argue it, right? I mean, this is incredible. The fact that there's going to be a game on Sunday that either is going to be the number 1 overall, the winner is going to be the number 1 overall seed in the NFC, and the other one won't even get a home playoff game to start their playoff run is pretty incredible.
I think it means a different thing,
which is
that the NFL seeding is dumb.
Really? Okay.
And it has been dumb.
Forever. I love it. I love the college football bowl, the college conference championships mattering. I love divisions mattering. It gives you a reason to hate the other teams.
But a team with a worse record gets a home game just because they won their division.
Win your
That's
division.
Stupid.
Win your division.
It's dumb.
Win your division.
Okay, but like if you go 16-1 and the other team in your division goes 15-2, and then you have to go and play a team that went 9-8 at their place. That's stupid.
They won their division.
But that's dumb.
Who do you hate more? Who do you hate more?
Are dumb.
The Seattle Seahawks or the Philadelphia Eagles?
Who do I hate more?
Who do you hate more?
The Eagles. Because
it matters more. Win your division.
Oh, come on.
Dan,
you can't actually believe that.
I do. I think divisions are what makes rivalries matter, and they should continue to matter.
And that's fine. But just winning your division doesn't mean that you deserve a home game in the playoffs. That has no bearing on it.
Unfortunately, I'm on your side with this, John, because
unfortunate.
It's not unfortunate, but
I think it's unfortunate.
If you play in a bad division, you shouldn't get a home game.
It's not your fault.
Exactly.
It's not your fault.
If the top 3 teams in your division would be the top team in any other division in football, you deserve a home playoff game. Yes, it does.
What else we got?
Make them play at Lambeau. It's unfair, especially for those jerks in purple and gold.
Nice radio edit.
Who play inside. Oh, and let's not forget the Honolulu Blue team that also plays inside. Get used to the elements. The Silver Dome was amazing. You should play there, even though the Silver Dome doesn't exist anymore. Okay.
R.I.P.
If Lamar Jackson has a big game on Sunday and clinches the AFC North crown, buy or sell that he deserves to win NFL MVP over Saquon Barkley. Also, Saquon Barkley is not in second place to
Josh
be the
Allen.
NFL MVP. It should be Josh Allen. It deserves to be Josh Allen. He's an amazing human being.
Is that your answer?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
I sell. To me, I think Saquon Barkley is your NFL MVP.
Yeah, I think I can make a bigger argument for Josh Allen though, based on what he's done.
Is this the Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty argument 2.0? Kind of feels like the same debate, right?
I think Lamar's going to win it no matter what.
Okay.
I just feel like they're going to get, because his numbers are silly.
Yeah, I mean, listen, all three. You can make the case for all three of these guys.
Yeah, but if we're talking about, and I know we do this all the time, but if we're talking about the most valuable player to his team, how could it not be Josh Allen?
To his team, man, I think it's Lamar Jackson. Just because that offense doesn't run like that with anybody else.
And Buffalo doesn't have an offense without Josh Allen.
Yeah, because I mean, you still got that running game in Baltimore. It's
Lamar's going to win it.
Yeah,
like, he's going to win the MVP. He's going to. He's got goofy numbers, like video game numbers. It's silly.
Yeah, the fact that he's
what if they lose
a sack worth of touchdowns?
What if they lose on Sunday? That change your opinion?
No, like my opinion is that Josh Allen is the most valuable player in the MVP in the league, but that's not what we give the award for.
Or Saturday,
anymore.
I forgot they play the Browns on Saturday. But
that's not what the award is given for.
If they lose to the Browns, who are 3-13, but have a very good defense, and I don't think it's out of the realm possible. Listen, the Ravens are 17.5-point favorites in this game. I don't think it's out of the realm possibility that Cleveland could throw a haymaker from out of nowhere and pull a win off here. I think
the top rope.
I think they at least cover.
Yeah,
that number is weird to me.
I think it's basically settled at this point. I think it's going to be Lamar Jackson.
Moving on, ESPN has polled 111 NFL players. They rated Kansas City and Seattle as the two loudest stadiums, but US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis was ranked third. Buy or sell, you are surprised to see the Vikings on this list.
I am, and for a couple. Well, first of all, that stadium's sweet. Like US Bank Stadium is awesome. It's built like a Viking ship. It looks like a giant glass mirror from the outside. It's super cool. But like, there's been some down years in Minneapolis, so I'm a little surprised to hear that they ranked third on this list.
Yeah, you just don't hear about that stadium being loud, right?
I've been there a couple times. It didn't seem that. No offense, Minneapolis. It didn't seem that loud to me.
Yeah, so I guess I would say I am surprised. I'll buy.
So I'm completely and utterly unsurprised that
because the NFC North is the best.
No, I'm completely unsurprised
it is
because
this year.
Let's be honest, Kansas City, deservedly so. They are a loud stadium. They are a rowdy stadium. Seattle has nicknamed their crowd the 12th man because they are so loud every single game. And they literally caused an earthquake with their cheering one year. Deservedly so. You should be on that list.
Still ranked second.
Minnesota is the loudest from an annoyance standpoint.
Oh.
Because every time they get a first down, you just hear, "Skull!"
Dan, who's your favorite football team?
Not the Minnesota Vikings.
What's number 5?
Number 5 is, we're going to get to the CFP in a minute, but buy or sell that Arizona State taking Texas to double OT is proof of the concept that conference championship games need to matter.
Buy, hammer, and hold. I think the conference championships should matter. I think they should continue to get the top 4 seed, despite what we saw from Boise State. I think the fact that Arizona State even came close to sniffing a win against Texas shows you that the advantage of picking your destination for the bowl game matters as well. Yeah, I think they absolutely should keep this format, and I love it, by the way.
No, you need to see the teams naturally. It's the same thing I just said about the NFL. We need to make better matchups. We need to have better first round games. We need to keep fans more engaged in the opening round games. I just feel like, look, for the health of the playoff, like, it doesn't need much help. It's always going to get good ratings. But if you want it to be the best that it can possibly be, then you have to be smart about it.
Listen, I mean, I'm going to be interested to see what the TV ratings look like, too. Because, in theory, shouldn't the 5 seed blow out the 12 seed anyway? Like, you know what I mean?
I don't think when you get to the playoff, you should expect a blowout anywhere.
Between 5 and 12? I mean, once you get to the NCAA tournament, it's 1-16. Those are technically blowouts, typically blowouts too.
Yeah, but the 12 beats the 5 almost every year.
But shouldn't you expect it to be a blowout?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Between a 7, I mean, just in your side of the bracket, so overall, the number overall 5 seed versus, well, obviously it doesn't work out that way, but versus the last 12 seed would be like a 48 spot differential.
But we're talking about the best 64 teams in the country.
That's true.
And in this case, we're talking about the best 12 teams in the country.
Yeah, but that's often not the best 64 teams in the country because why, John? Conference championships could punch your ticket to the dance. Hey, if you missed Buy or Sell Tonight, check it out, soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. It's winter. You know what that means? You need to get the HVAC, you need to get the maintenance done on your HVAC unit so you can be prepared and not freezing in your living room, hanging out with Jack Frost inside. Head over to ControlledComfort.com and set up a maintenance appointment so you can have peace of mind about your furnace this winter and make sure that the warm weather didn't take too harsh of a toll on your AC this summer as well. Controlled Comfort Heating and Air at ControlledComfort.com. We'll be right back. Give me your Papillion Sanitation. Trash takes the night. You're on 620 Zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for our friend Bob Williams at Williams Law. You hear Bob in here every single week talking about the nuances facing the NFL and college football and big-time promotions. You don't have to be a multi-billion-dollar organization to work with a lawyer the caliber of Bob Williams. All you have to do is head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. Maybe you partied a little too hard last night and got behind the wheel of a car. It's expensive. It's dangerous. It's not worth it. You know that. You made a mistake, but Bob and his team can walk you through the legal side of things, explain your rights, and walk you through the process. And they're going to do that for free. They're going to give you a free, no-obligation legal consultation. All you have to do is head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com and work with a high-caliber lawyer like Bob Williams today.
Your Omaha area forecast from the Godfather's Pizza Weather Center and KETV Newswatch 7.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
There's never been a better time to choose a new career path than right now. Hi, I'm Tracy with Papillion Sanitation. If you're at a point in your life where you want a career and not a job, Papillion Sanitation is the place for you. From 401k options to opportunities for career advancement, come make Papillion Sanitation your future. Check out papillion-sanitation.com today to apply and make a change for the better. Papillion Sanitation, equal opportunity employer.
Hello. Thanks.
Angela, we have to break up.
But why?
Because you're a robot and I'm just a guy trying to get better internet.
It's Allo Fiber, isn't it? I always knew you wanted faster speeds. My contract isn't good enough for you.
Face it, Angela. They let me talk to real people.
Press 4 to break my heart. Oh wait, you already did.
Visit allofiber.com to switch today.
$7:27 on a Wing Wednesday edition of the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Book a free estimate for your roof, your windows, your gutters, your siding. They can do it all. You never have to settle for less at pyramidroof.com. Jimmy Allen, John Schreider, Dave Campion with you here tonight. Time for our Papillion Sanitation trash takes of the night. What we'll do here is all three of us will give you a take. We'll put poll up on Twitter at After Hours 1620. We'll vote on who had the best take, who had the worst take. We'll have the trashiest take of the night. I will go ahead and start us off. We didn't talk about it in the social media soundbite. We need more coaches' rivalries in sports. Brett Bielema versus Shane Beamer over the last couple of days has been one of the more entertaining things on all of the internet. They got into it during the game. They got into it on Twitter after the game. It's good for sports. It's good for bowl games that, quote, don't matter. Tell those two that. That was an absolutely fantastic interaction. They were entertaining on social media as well. I'm here for the pettiness. Pettiness is what makes sports great. I thought it was awesome.
All right. Okay. Mine's similar. The Pop-Tarts Bowl is showing us what bowl games should be.
Thank you. Okay, I was about to get really mad at you.
They are having so much fun marketing that game and all of the shenanigans that go on during it. That is what these lower tier bowl games should be. They should be celebrations of football. They should be fun. They should not be so serious. Look, the game doesn't mean anything, but we love it.
We do.
And why do we love it? Because it's fun. They actually don't take themselves too seriously. They're out there to have a good time. This is what these bowl games should be. Every other bowl game should aspire to do what the Pop-Tarts Bowl has done over the last 2 years.
Did you see the bit that they didn't really focus on? Like the Pop-Tart that got toasted last year was in the upper bowl by himself, holding up a picture of him being toasted last year. It was great.
It's incredible.
They've gone all in for the bit, and I think it's amazing.
It's great, and that's what these games should be. They should be fun, they should be lighthearted, and it should be a celebration.
I tweeted out this weekend, the Pop-Tarts Bowl better last forever. Dan?
The Minnesota Vikings cannot make a bad decision and move on from Sam Darnold next season. Yes, I do realize that you drafted one James John McCarthy in this past season's NFL draft.
Do people forget J.J. McCarthy? I think they do.
I hope they do, because Minnesota needs to forget the fact that they have him on their roster. You need to stick with Sam Darnold come heck or high water this next season.
Who has a better chance of getting paid? Sam Darnold or Brock Purdy? Kind of feels like Sam Darnold, right?
Sam Darnold has a better chance of getting paid.
The chances are both of them get paid.
Sam Darnold has a better chance of getting paid immediately once the season is done. Brock Purdy's agent will have a little bit more to do and will have a little bit more hemming and hawing and swaying of opinions to do. But I haven't seen a true fault out of either of those guys like this season. Because Brock Purdy, you can at least...
He's been hurt.
You can at least say with Brock Purdy, hey, this season might not have been super great, but look at all of the trouble that we had around him and look at the trouble that he had this season. And then compare it to, what was it, 2 seasons ago? When it was Mr. Irrelevant gets called up off the bench and lights the entire NFL on fire.
You remember when Sam Darnold played in Carolina? Woof.
Nobody does.
Remember when Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield played in Carolina together at the same time?
Like all the Sam Darnold jokes, man. Seeing ghosts. He's out because of mononucleosis, and the ESPN made a graphic about it. And then you could do your own Sam Darnold graphics. I made about 1 billion of them.
Every national champion since 2005 has been from Austin, Texas on east. Is that crazy to think about? College football?
No, because most of them are in warm weather.
That's true. Just throwing that out there.
It's fair enough.
Hey, if you missed our Papillion Sanitation Trash Takes of the Night tonight, check it out at SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. Wherever you may find your podcast, that was brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Yeah, it's cold outside right now, but you know what that means? Wedding season is on the horizon. If you want to have the best suit buying experience for your big day, look no further than 78th and Dodge. Centrally located, you can stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. I got my suit at Jerry Ryan. Dan got his suit at Jerry Ryan for our weddings. We were the best dressed grooms that you've ever seen. If you want to be the best dressed groom at your wedding, make sure that you stop by Jerry Ryan, 78th and Dodge. They've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years. We give our thoughts on the entire aspect of the college football playoff when we come back here on 620 Zone.
Good evening, folks. Being the first show of the new year is always a little bit tough, but what's not tough is the fact that I'm able to make it through any single day that I have in my life, knowing that there are 10 great locations of Pepper Jack's Grill where I can get my steak gunner Philly with all the vegetables, including that jalapeno juice to get it that fireball way, make it a little extra spicy and extra tasty just for me. And of course, if I'm going to Pepper Jack's, I'm not skipping out on those delicious French fries that they have. So if you want to be just like the guys of the After Hours Lounge, head over to one of Pepper Jack's 10 great local locations today.
Are you watching the water slowly seep down the drain again? Go with a local solution. Go with Trusted. AX Plumbing is here to help. With over 20 years of serving the metro area, AX Plumbing can do it all, from residential to commercial. They can even help with the new build installation service. Head over to axpservice.com today. There's financing available to qualified buyers and military discount too. Check out axpservice.com today. AX Plumbing. They'll leave your place cleaner than they found it.
New year, new yo, but better beverages in 2025. Chesterman Coca-Cola and Hy-Vee are giving you the best new deals of the new year. Stop by any Omaha area Hy-Vees and grab Body Armor 12-ounce 8-packs for $5.99. Core Power Protein Shakes 12 packs for just $39.99 with a 5-cent Feel Saver bonus. And Coke 6-pack mini cans are just $2 for $9. Chesterman Coca-Cola and Hy-Vee, delivering the same flavor in the new year.
It's 7:36 on a Wednesday night here on 1620 Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Book a free estimate with Kyle and team. They'll give you a free estimate on your roof, windows, gutters, siding, even your windows. They could do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com tonight. The college football playoff as a whole. You've kind of alluded to your thoughts on it. Gut instinct. It was part of your bold prediction, but do you think they eventually go to traditional seeding versus the playoff or the conference championship.
I think it happens next playoffs.
So there's the bless you, Dan. Your microphone's on.
Thank you.
There's the thought process that they're going to 16 teams, and I don't think it will happen until that happens.
Listen, here's the tweet from Matt Schick just 1 minute ago. Oregon would have been better off
He doesn't even
losing
work
to
here
Penn
anymore.
State in the Big 12 in the Big 10 championship game. They would have been the 5 seed and hosted Clemson, and then they'd have a neutral site game against Arizona State in the quarterfinal. They would have been better off losing their. Are you kidding me?
He's
They
not
would have
wrong,
been
though.
better off
He's-
losing their conference title game.
He's not wrong though, and here's the other thing with that I have a problem with the process now is I think the process, like on paper, I think the original thought process and the way it is now is it would kick the people in South Bend, Indiana, in the pants and make them want to join a conference. I think this did the exact opposite. I think this rewarded them for not playing in a conference championship game. They automatically get a bye by not having a conference championship game, and they get a home and they have the possibility of getting a home field playoff game where they get more revenue. Because I don't know if you know this, Notre Dame likes money. I think this current system is flawed. I think the top 4 seeds should get home field advantage, and then the other team should have to play at neutral site games. And I think the only way to do that is by doing a 16-team playoff, or you let the first 2 rounds of the higher seeds have home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, and look, I'm not up in arms too much about that. But what I'm saying is we got a system where teams would have been better off losing their conference championships because they would have had more favorable paths to the
Sure.
championship game.
That's this year, though. That's not always going to be the case.
Maybe not, but if there's a chance that that's the case, then we're doing it wrong.
Well, I mean, that's not really any different than a team gets hot at the end of the season and the fact that they lost 2 games earlier. That's exactly what happened with Ohio State, right? They're getting hot at the right time, and they've got the talent to do so. And their offensive line is getting healthier by the day.
But listen to me.
I hear what you're saying, but like, what if we're having the same? What if Arizona State comes back today? Are we still having the same discussion? Because I mean, they were a heartbeat away from beating Texas.
Sure.
They probably should have beaten Texas.
But if you're Oregon, would you rather play Ohio State or Arizona State today?
I mean, in high, like, are we having that same conversation if Arizona State beat Texas?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah,
think
we
so,
are.
Man. I don't know.
Okay. If you're Oregon, would you rather play Texas or Ohio State today?
Texas.
Yeah, exactly. This was a harder path for the number 1 team in the country than it is for Texas, who was the 5 seed.
I don't know if it's the fact that Ohio State's that, and I think there's a possibility that it's Ohio State's that good, but this is the second time they had to play them too, and I think there's something to be said about that. Not necessarily that Ohio State is just that much better than Arizona State. I think they are, but I think there's also a little bit of a fact that beating somebody twice is very difficult, especially when the reason you beat them the first time is because their quarterback, who usually is pretty smart and makes good decision, just had a very boneheaded decision on the road.
Here's what I'll say. If I told you that, all right, here's how we're doing the NCAA basketball tournament now. If you win your conference, you're automatically a top 6 seed. Would you be in favor of that?
Everybody would take that.
No, they wouldn't.
Be a top 6 seed?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you?
Nobody, there would be so many teams who are like, yeah, we didn't win our conference, but we're still going to be a 2 seed. And now they can't be because all the conference winners have to be top 6 seeds. There's no way that's right. That can't be right.
That's okay, but that's not apples to apples, though. But they would only give that to, there wouldn't be a case where the Mountain West Conference champion would get that spot, though. That would go to your Power 6 schools, and that would be your top 6 seed.
Jimmy, it happened in college football. Boise State got a top 4 seed.
Okay,
because they won their conference.
Yeah, but the reason we love March Madness so much is because
it's seeded properly.
Because of the Cinderella stories. None of them are getting top 6 seeds. I feel confident saying the Boise State scenario in football this year would never happen in the scenario you just painted.
Even if a team makes a great run and wins their conference late from a lower conference in college basketball, they are seeded appropriately. Even if you're a team who magically wins your conference tournament, you don't automatically get a top seed. You don't. Because we understand
it's not
that
the
they're
same
not one
thing,
of the
though.
best teams in the country, even though they won their conference.
Right. But in basketball, you usually see most of the teams in your conference multiple times, at least twice, especially with the tournament. In college football, you don't get that luxury. So, like if what you're saying happens, they have to eliminate the conference championship games as a whole, right? There's literally no point in playing them.
No, what I'm saying is when you determine the teams that make the playoff however you want to.
Sure.
But then once you have the playoff field, seed them appropriately.
I get what you're saying. I understand all that. But you can't do that and have the conference championship games, right? There's no world in which that happens.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, absolutely there is.
Why? But to Matt Schick's point, then why would anybody care or try? You would have the same situation we're talking about with Saquon Barkley in college football now,
because you want to win every game, so you get a higher seed.
Right.
Also, it's not that hard. If we do go to 16 teams, it's not that hard to imagine that they would add weight to a conference championship specifically to say, all right, everyone's playing opening weekend, but if you're a conference champion, guess what?
Yeah, but
you get an automatic.
You run into this. You run into the same
12
problems.
seed, 5 seed.
You run into the same problems though, because even if you're the higher seed, like there's still a chance that a 10-2 Ohio State team is going to be somewhere around the 10 to 12 seed, and they got hot at the right time, and they're they're one of the more talented teams, but they're injured. Ohio State's not in this situation this year if their offensive line isn't as banged up as it was.
But
it's not a different scenario.
It is a different scenario, and here's what I'm saying: that if you are a team from the overall point here, what I'm trying to say is that this playoff format was set up to protect the Big Ten, the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 12.
You could have just stopped
and their champions.
It was set up
so that they would automatically get a bye. They would be automatically in the quarterfinals. That whole thing blew up in the face of the committee this year.
Yep. I don't think it blew up in the face of the committee. I think it blew up in the face of those 4 conferences you just listed.
Sure. Because the winner of the Big 12 was not ranked ahead of Boise State.
Yep.
The winner of the ACC was not one of the best teams in the country.
The defense was pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
So what we got were the 4 conference champions that were the highest ranked were not the best teams. They were not the teams that were deserving of a first round bye. They were undeserving byes handed out. And that's the problem.
Okay. Are they undeserving from the standpoint? So what? I don't know. To me,
you're telling me you think Boise State deserved a bye over Ohio State?
You could say that in hindsight now, but look at that Oregon Boise State game.
I could say it in foresight,
but you didn't. Okay, but you didn't think that the way Boise State played Oregon and the way they dominated their conference, there may have been something there.
There may have been, but when you take the totality of the season, there's no way. There's just no way.
Ohio State lost to a Michigan team that barely made a bowl game this year.
Yep. And you just crowned them for beating Alabama.
No. I know, but I'm just saying, like you said, I could look at a totality and say that, but like you're telling me that Ohio State deserved a bye or to be seated higher when they didn't even play for their conference championship game. They weren't even top 2 in their conference.
Penn State didn't get a bye. Did they deserve one?
I think they would more than Ohio State in this argument.
Well, then that proves my point.
But neither one of them did because they didn't win their conference championship game. I think this is how we got this problem in the first place. Is we looked at it and said, well, without a doubt, the Big Ten and the SEC are better than everybody, so we need to protect them. And then you had the Big 12 and the ACCs go, hey, well, we're on paper we're sitting at the same table, so how do we get protected? And I think people are going to look like I'm hearing this across all the talking head shows about how blowouts are happening and this playoff system is broken and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, but we're getting definity out of it. Like you could say for sure that Ohio State is better than Boise State because they advance further in this. Like, I don't think there's a problem with it. I don't think when you talk about number 1 seed versus the number 12 seed in any sport, there should be a drop-off. That's why that team is the 1 seed and this team is the 12 seed. Like the fact that you had 14 playoff games being talked about, like people want to go, we're talking about going back to a 2-team model because the semifinal blowouts are happening then. Like, what do we say? If Notre Dame does beat Georgia, and Penn State just blows them out. Is that not the same topic we're talking about right now?
Well, it would again prove my point that Penn State was one of the best 4 teams in the country and deserved to bye. They didn't get it.
Okay, but flip around. Let's say that Ohio State. We're same situation. They blow out Texas.
Yep.
Are you saying that's still an issue?
Yes.
Because there's no world in which Ohio State would have had a top 4 seed.
Well, maybe Ohio State doesn't deserve a top 4 seed, but at
See,
the very least,
this is what I'm saying. That doesn't fix anything, though, because you're always going to have a team like Ohio State. You're always going to have a team like Notre Dame that goes on a run and gets hot at the end of the season, and they're going to be somewhere in that 5 to 12 range, and everybody's going to go,
"That's fine.
We told you before the season they were the best team." I sat here for 20 minutes earlier and told you that I thought Ohio State was the best and most talented team before the season started, and they still lost 2 games, and the regular season should still matter.
That's fine.
Then
but we still need to seed teams appropriately. We need to put the best 4 teams in the top 4, not just the teams that won their conference
But what you're
titles.
doing is what got us in this mess in the first place.
We don't do it
is
in any
you're
other
making
sport.
it opinionated. That is an opinion. Who are you giving the power to seed these teams to?
Who do we give the power to seed the teams in the NCAA basketball tournament to?
Do they always do it correctly?
No, but they generally do a pretty good
The
job.
way you have it now leaves it to nobody's decision, and I think that's the best way to do it. Let the play on the field decide it.
It
And
doesn't, because you're still counting on the committee to tell you that these conference champions are the best 4 conference champions.
Do you think the same committee would have told you that Texas was going to beat Arizona State by 3 touchdowns today? Because I think they would have.
I don't know. What was the spread in that game?
17.5? Or no, 16, right? 16 points?
I don't know, but I think we can do a better job. I think it can be better than just handing out automatic buys.
But
because you won your conference.
But what I think this does,
winning a conference doesn't make you one of the best teams in the country.
I think the problem we're looking at right now, we're looking in hindsight for this season. But I think what this does is it does give the ACC and in the Big 12 the ability to go out and get somewhat close to parity. Because if you take that away, and that's going to happen, you know what's going to happen is it's going to be favored towards the SEC and the Big 10. Just because that is where everybody skews the talent towards. Because I think that's a fair assessment. That they're the most 2 talented leagues. And I think what we have now gives a better chance of parity than what you're offering.
I don't understand how.
Because they have a seat at the table. You could recruit and tell kids you get a chance to you'll get a chance to have a higher seed in a conference football playoff tournament rather than we're hoping to get it like I think you turn the SEC you turn the Big 12 and the ACC into a conversation about the Mountain West. I think that puts them on the same playing field.
You're also in a situation where Notre Dame could go undefeated and be the number 1 team in the country and be ineligible for a bye.
Great. Good.
Why?
Because you can't give that entity that much power. I think that's totally unfair. You can't have all these set of rules for everybody in college football, and then Notre Dame gets.
I'm
to write
telling
their
you
rules.
that the rules are stupid.
I agree. But if Notre Dame wants, I don't think Notre Dame wants that. I don't think they want the bye. I think they want the home game. I think they want a home game because I don't think they agree to this. I don't think they agree. Their AD is on this board, and I don't think you get an agreement from him unless this is benefiting Notre Dame.
The final college football playoff rankings: Oregon, Georgia, Texas, Penn State were the top 4 teams.
Who are the four teams left in the playoff? Oh, I guess it's Ohio State, not Oregon.
Yeah, but Texas and Penn State.
In your model, the Oregon Ducks would have been the number 1 overall seed.
Yep,
they just lost by 20 points.
Fine, upsets happen, just like they do in the NCAA basketball tournament.
So why does it matter how we seed them anyway? Then
it absolutely matters because we get better matchups in the first round.
Well, I don't think we do though.
Okay, hold on. Before you go any further, in the first round,
because Oregon wouldn't have been in there anyway, and they missed the first round also. So take them out of the equation.
2 of the 4 games were competitive in the first round.
Yeah,
mildly competitive.
And that's the other thing. I think the final scores of these games are also skewing at how competitive we thought these games were too. Sorry, Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, so Notre Dame, Indiana was moderately competitive. Clemson, Texas was actually a competitive game, despite what the final score says. Ohio State, Tennessee.
That was the only
malarkey.
To me, I think that was the only game that wasn't competitive because SMU, Penn State was at least competitive up until halftime too.
sort of competitive up until halftime. When SMU started giving the ball away really early, I was like, okay, this is not.
Yeah,
gonna,
but Penn State scored that late touchdown.
Well
it was 14-0 for a while.
It was, and then, I mean, in the second round, like 31-14 for a Boise State team that obviously had to punch way above its weight class, and then.
But
Texas
that game today was
State
way more
going to
competitive than
2
31-14 indicates too.
It also that was yesterday.
Whatever.
Thank you. And then Ohio State and Oregon, obviously that was a whole nother thing, but Ohio State.
But that's the number 1 seed, losing by 20 points.
Yeah, and Ohio State was obviously the better team. That should have the college football playoff committee should have in their heads when they saw that Ohio State Tennessee game, which I watched on a plane.
A lot of people thought that was going to be the best game. A lot of people thought that was going to be the best game.
A lot of people did, and a lot of people were wrong.
Yeah, there were a lot of people that picked Tennessee to win that game.
Ohio State is killing it this season. It's ridiculous. We're gonna
But this goes back to the original argument, though, right? Because do you still have the final rankings up?
Yep.
Where did Ohio State finish ranked? Did they finish 8th?
6th.
Okay, so arguably the hottest and best team. You just asked me off air. Are they already the unanimous favorite to win the college football playoff? And I said yes.
I think so.
This would be a team that doesn't host a playoff game. It still has the 6th seed. So even if you do give the best 4 teams, the top 4 teams you listed, that path, it's still not the easiest. And it's always going to be different. You can't base the future off. This is the first model in which we get it's going to be different next year. We're going to have a completely different argument about it.
Listen, here, if you went by rankings, your first round matchups are Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State, Arizona State, Tennessee, SMU, Boise State, Indiana.
Okay.
Now, we can assume that Notre Dame beats Clemson. They would play Penn State.
I don't know if we can assume that, by the way, but go ahead.
You can assume Ohio State beats Arizona State. They would play Texas in the second round. Tennessee, SMU, who do you like in that one?
It'd be a good game.
It'd be a good game. Winner plays Georgia, Boise State, Indiana. Who didn't want to see that game? That would have been a great first round game.
But that you're looking at it this year, though.
Okay, but this year is the only model. This is the only data point we have
which
for
is,
this.
Which is why I hate the knee-jerk reaction of we have to fix this. It's broken. We can't keep doing this. Because
Jimmy,
I think this year...
To me, it is just obvious that we are seeding this thing wrong. We're rewarding things that don't ultimately matter. Like winning your conference is great, but winning your conference doesn't make you one of the best 4 teams in the country. It just doesn't.
Like I said, I think the original thought process around this was we have to do this to make Notre Dame get on board. And we can't get to what we want it to be.
Why do we have to make Notre Dame join a conference?
Because there's this clear path to getting away from the NCAA, right? We can all agree. We can stop pretending like that's not a thing, right? And that's never, ever going to happen unless the party in South Bend, Indiana stops being independent and joins the South of the North, and they can figure it out from there. We've heard about 80-team super conferences. We've heard about all these things that really don't matter, and it's never going to happen unless South Bend, Indiana is on board. And right now they're not because they make their own rules, and everything benefits them.
I don't know, man. I don't like this seeding model. I think it's bad for business. I think it rewards the wrong thing.
Hey, if you missed any of the After Hours Lounge tonight, check it out at SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. It's brought to you by our new friends at Allo Fiber. Listen, if you're a business out there and you need help with IT management, Allo Fiber can do that for you. They can be your MSP and also provide you with high-speed internet for your business. Check out Allo Fiber. AlloBusiness.com to learn more tonight. For Dan Campion and John Schreiner, I've been Jimmy Allen. If you're hungover, celebrate National Bloody Mary Day.
Or skip it.
Are you ready to elevate your taste buds? Look no further than Pepper Jacks, your go-to destination for bold flavors and endless choices. Dive into their mouth-watering rice bowls, crisp salads, hearty Phillies, savory burritos, and loaded nachos. What sets them apart? Complete customization. Choose your base, proteins, toppings, and sauces for a personalized culinary adventure. At Pepper Jacks, it's not just a meal, it's an experience. Unleash your cravings and savor the bold tastes at Pepper Jacks today. Life's too short for bland. Spice it up at Pepper Jacks.